If you haven't picked up on it by now, I've not been exactly supportive of President Biden's first days in office and his flurry of divisive job-killing, security-destroying, freedom-crushing, government-bloating, economy-wrecking executive orders. Well, to put it mildly. But you know I'm a conservative, so of course I would be opposed and appalled at what I'm seeing. That's to be expected. But what about Americans with no particular political stance, or even those who supported Joe Biden? How are they feeling about their new president? Turns out they're starting to feel pretty appalled too. The buyer's remorse is setting in fast as they realize what they elected just to end Trump's mean tweets. There's now evidence that Joe Biden's executive orders are going over like an incontinent frog in the punch bowl. According to townhall.com, 4 congressional Democrats who backed President Biden are now reeling over his order to end oil and gas leases on federal land, an order that's going to reduce U.S. GDP by $700 billion, and it will devastate their state's economies. They've sent him a letter urging him to rescind it. Well, good luck with that. Maybe they should have thought harder before they filled out their ballots. Or you should have watched my show. I could have helped you there. If even congressional Democrats are already starting to feel queasy about President Biden in the White House, imagine how average Americans feel. Well, you don't have to, because the polls are already coming in. Since taking office, President Biden's approval rating has been consistently dropping in the Rasmussen Daily Tracking Poll, from -2 to -4 to -5 points. This is unusual since presidents normally start out with a honeymoon period. And while Biden has enjoyed fawning press and a refusal to fact-check even his most stunning claims, President Trump came into office with viciously hostile press, yet he saw his approval rating rise early on from +2 to +13 points. Maybe it's because Americans saw that his executive orders were actually meant to help America. Or maybe they just finally saw him and realized he didn't have horns and cloven hooves the way the press claimed. So far, the White House response to criticism has been, "Shut up or else," as well as, "Come on, man." But I don't see that as a winning strategy for the 2022 elections. I would urge Republicans to keep up the criticism, the refusal to be canceled, as well as refusal to be silenced, and put the pressure on state and local officials to clean up and retighten election integrity laws. I've got a feeling that with polls tanking this fast, if congressional Democrats realize they're going to be facing fair and honest re-election campaigns in 2022, they might become almost as big an obstacle to Biden's destructive agenda as the Republicans are. In the meantime, the so-called fact-checkers who challenged every word out of President Trump's mouth are feeling almost as unemployed as pipeline workers now that Joe Biden is in office. This despite the fact that there's more work to do with this administration than any other, maybe in American history. Some, like the Washington Post Glenn Kessler, have as much as admitted they won't even be monitoring Joe Biden because if anyone has a reputation for always telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but, it's Joe Plagiarist Biden. They're so desperate for something to nitpick that Kessler tried nitpicking a fight with Senator Ted Cruz, challenging his claim that Biden's killing of the Keystone Pipeline will kill 11,000 union jobs. Kessler gave Cruz 2 Pinocchios and sort of tut-tutted that those jobs were only temporary jobs anyway. Cruz fired back, "All construction jobs are temporary. Presidents still shouldn't destroy them." I guess at the Washington Post, they believe that some construction workers finish building a project and then just keep on building it for all eternity. But as Brad Slager at townhall.com points out, Kessler contradicted himself since in a previous fact check some years ago, he claimed the number of jobs that Keystone would create was being overstated, and it would only create about 16,000 jobs. Now he seems to be claiming that the jobs that he said would be created aren't real jobs at all. How many times do I have to keep saying this? We need fact checkers for our fact checkers. But on the bright side, the stark contrast in coverage of the Biden administration compared to Trump's just might get the rest of America to realize that they can't trust the media our social media. One can hope, anyway. Well, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed that video, consider subscribing to the channel below and clicking the notification bell. Please leave a like and a comment, and share this video as well if you really enjoyed it. I'm sure you did. And if you want more of my news analysis and commentary, sign up for my newsletter at MikeHuckabee.com. It is completely free. That's it for this edition of The Breakdown. I'm Mike Huckabee.